Hello LEGO fans! Welcome to LEGO 48. Today I'm going to look at some of the lingering issues with my S-Curve lifter module and see if we can fix them. As you'll recall, on Christmas Day I showed off the latest iteration of the lifter featuring 3 bladed spinners. The new design was great for about 5 minutes at a time, and then this would happen. Let's take a look at the issues. Here's an animation that illustrates the ball moving mechanism. As you can see, between the walls of the curves, the spinner arms, and the GBC ball, there isn't really a lot of extra space. And if you happen to get 2 balls at the same time, they will squeeze together for about half a turn, and then they'll hit the next spinner arm and jam. Here's a small test rig that I built for testing. I can rotate the spinners by hand and move a ball through the loops. Because the spinner arms have to be able to clear the low part of the curves, they sit fairly high. And if they happen to pull out just a little bit, they can roll right over the top of a ball, causing the ball to drop into the next slot until it ends up in the same slot as another ball and jams. There's also this piece here, which can get pushed out if a ball ends up in the wrong spot, and once it falls out, balls will jam against this curved piece here. Another potential issue is this complicated gearing system. Any of these gears can slide on their axles, causing that spinner to stop rotating, and again, causing the system to jam. I was complaining about having to switch back to the 2-bladed spinners to improve the reliability, which I really hated to do because I really like the 3-bladed spinners. And I was explaining to my wife about the space issue that was causing jams, and she suggested, why not just spread the curves apart a little bit? Yeah, right. She's a girl, and she knows nothing about Legos or engineering. Obviously you can't spread them apart because then the spinners wouldn't reach far enough to pass the ball to the next one. But the next morning I was looking at my test rig and thinking, I don't know for certain that her idea won't work. I do know for certain that the current design does not. And it wouldn't really cost me all that much to try it out. So let's try stretching these apart by 1 stud. So obviously there's now a gap between the ends of the curved bricks and the axles for the spinners. But we can fill those in with a couple of 1x2 bricks. Now let's put a ball in and see if we can move it through. Huh, that worked better than I expected. There's certainly more room, but if the spinners get out of sync, they are just barely close enough to still hit each other, which means there's still potential to jam. Let's try stretching it again and see what happens with 2 stud spacing. Again, there's a gap that has to be filled, but now we'll be using 2x2 bricks. Let's try moving a ball through, and yeah, it still works. Surprise, surprise. Now what I don't know is this. Is it only working because I'm controlling the spinners by hand? Or will this work when the spinners are synchronized with each other? Let's see if I can find some gears to temporarily link these together. Ooh, check this out. With the extra spacing, the spinner axles are now exactly the right distance apart to fit 40-tooth gears. If I had enough of these gears, I could probably drive the entire lifter this way, which would be so much simpler than my previous approach. And simpler means more reliable. And since these gears are all in the same plane, that is, none of them are at 90-degree angles, that means there isn't any pressure on these gears trying to drive them off the axles. Another improvement in reliability. Let's try this out. And look at that. That works beautifully. You know what else I just noticed? With 2 stud spacing, the spinner arms aren't running over the curved bricks on the opposite side. That means that I can eliminate this problematic piece, and the top part of the curve can match the bottom part. Yeah, that's a definite improvement. The other thing that now occurs to me is this. This filler here doesn't have to be a 2x2 brick. It could just be a pair of plates with a flat tile on top. That would eliminate the chance of the spinner arms catching on the studs, and would also allow me to position the spinner arms more in line with the center of the balls, so they won't end up riding over the top. The only issue with this is that there's nothing to keep the ball on track on the front side of the spinner arms. But I think I can fix that by extending a 1x6 tile from this point here, with a small 1x2 plate underneath it. Basically, my straight section will extend from both the back and the front, with a gap for the spinner in the middle, rather than only being on the back half. There we go. Let's try this. Yeah, that's working beautifully. Now let's add windows to the front and try it perfectly vertical. And there we go. This is working incredibly well. In fact, this is actually more in line with my original vision for this design. Now my only issue is, do I show this to my wife and admit that she was right? That seems like a really dangerous precedent to set. I mean, I work in engineering. I'm supposed to be smart. My wife needs frickin' brain camp. No, this design is too good. I'm going to have to tell her and admit that she was right and that I was less right. Well, for now, I'm going to have to see about getting enough of the 40-tooth gears to rebuild the lifter. In the meantime, I need to find a good florist.